Hey, thank you so much for joining me. I feel like
It's
I've
okay.
known you guys for years and finally get to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure. We're hoping we can maybe
Yeah,
come and meet you guys now sooner rather than later.
we would have met through TSA, right? So Jordan would have joined the Trade Success Academy a couple of years back. Is that right?
Yeah, quite a long time ago now. So I think it was 2020 when I quit my job to join Jordan because that was a bit scary because it was
Yeah.
January, the new year. We decided to give it a go. I was going to teach more yoga, help him out. And then 2 months later, COVID hit. So we were like, oh shit, like neither of us have a job. Well, we do both have a job, but it's the exact same job. And
Yeah.
it's like, way less work than there's ever going to be because obviously you can still do emergencies and things like that. But there was a bit of a fine line about what was classed as key work and what wasn't.
Yeah.
Even though it was a bit of a stressful time, it did kind of work in our favor a little bit because you know the story about him like scaling back and sort of starting again, and it did allow Jordan that time to sit down with me and actually teach
Yeah.
me things. Whereas I think if COVID
Right.
hadn't happened, I would have I would have got there in the end because actually a lot of the stuff I have learned I've just had to do myself. But I think it allowed Jordan that time in the beginning to sort of hold my hand a little bit and walk me through stuff. Whereas that may have not been the case had COVID not happened. And we wouldn't be where we were, I don't think, without COVID because I don't think he would have, scaled back and then built things back up slowly the right way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, that was kind of where it started. So that was 2020, and I think he was kind of toying with the idea of joining the academy, and I wasn't too sure because of like it seemed like quite an expense. Now looking
Yeah.
back, it was the best money I ever spent, but it's
Amazing.
I don't know whether it was like too much for where we were at the time.
Yeah.
So I think we toyed with that idea, and it was I think November 2020 that Jordan joined around that time. So it's coming up to 3 years now
Yeah,
that he's been
amazing. And,
working.
like we hear that so often. And I guess there's that, the expenses of business because they all mount up and you're always trying to like at least break even, or trying to get a profit, but often just trying to break even. So then adding another expense and then not really knowing what coaching is and all that thing. So it's totally understandable.
You do think like I suppose I'm it's sort of an analogy. I'm running at the moment, and it's like I've been looking at new running trainers. And I'm like, oh god, like £200. But then it's like, well, if you want to do something well, you need to invest, don't you? So that's kind
Yeah.
of how I see it. The training's been great, especially for Jordan and running the business. So it was money well spent, I think.
Awesome. And so, okay, so back to the beginning. How did you guys
Yeah.
meet?
It was really weird. I don't know why I did this. So his brother was in my year in school, and I swear to you, I didn't look at his profile, nothing. It wasn't like I found, you know what he looked like. I just remember like being like had a couple of drinks, and I was like living with my mum and dad at the time, and like it just kept like people you may know because obviously we had people in common. So I just added him, but it was really strange because there was no reason behind why I added him. It was almost like
Yeah.
something told me to. But it'd been a couple of months, and it turns out, like behind the scenes, he had been asking people like, "Who's this girl?" And he was seeing someone at the time, and his friends were like, "Oh, you'll really like her. Like, you should go and date her instead." But he
Yeah.
carried on like this relationship with this other girl, and I was like recently single, and I went away on a trip to Portugal with some friends of mine for their 30th birthdays. That was 6 years ago now, coming up. And sort of hooked up with this guy, so I was quite hung up on him. And Jordan was sending me messages in the background trying to get me to go on a date because he'd recently gone through a breakup. And I was like, oh no, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. But then things went horribly wrong with this this guy that I was seeing. And
Right.
Jordan was still messaging me, super keen. And one of the things actually that did sway me is I was sort of messaging back and forth on Facebook, and he said, I asked him what he was doing, and he said he was watching a film with his cat, and I love cats, and I thought that was actually quite. I've actually listened to a podcast recently which says single men with cats is an ick, but I actually thought it was really sweet, and I was like, oh my god, you've got a cat, so that warmed me, and I think with the sort of breakup-ish thing with this guy I was seeing, I just thought, I'll just go out and have some fun, a bit of a rebound thing. Didn't expect to like him, so didn't even dress up at all ready for the date. And then when I got in the van, I was like, oh god, he's actually quite good looking, and we hit it off away. And I sort of said to myself, I'm not going to settle for the first person because I haven't been single that long. So I did go on one more date, and I was honest with him. I said, look, I'm going to go on this date I've planned, and I'll let you know how it goes. And it was just awful. And then after that, I just agreed, this is it. We're not going to date any other people. So we moved. Yeah, we moved pretty quickly. So I met him, I started going out with him in April, and I was living with him by October, but pretty much straight away, to be honest. I just was going to get my stuff and go into his.
And if you knew what you wanted.
Yeah, and I think when I was a little bit older, like later in my 20s, so ready to look for that person, like more long term. And then that would have been 6 years in April. So we've been together 5.5 years.
Yeah, amazing. That's so cool. Did and was Jordan was he qualified as an electrician then, or
so
you were both working?
So he did an apprenticeship straight from school at quite an elite electrical school, really, to like place to study, basically a really good, quite elite apprenticeship. So he left school at 16, moved up to Leeds, which is quite far from where we live. So for someone that age, it's quite amazing that he did that. And so he's been an electrician by trade from a teenager. And then he did obviously come out to Australia, do some traveling over there. So did a couple of different things when he was away, but pretty much jumped straight back into it when he came back to the UK. And then his friend was working in a garden centre and wanted a trade, so Jordan took him on as an apprentice, and he went through his qualifications. So it was just Jordan and Ross for a while. And then when I met Jordan, it was just Jordan and Ross. Ross, by this point, had qualified as an electrician, and then Griff was an apprentice. He was a younger guy. So it was just the three of them, and then just one van, basically.
You're right.
I was working in a law firm when I first met Jordan, and then I went off to India to do my yoga teacher training. And I was also a professional singer, so traveling around doing like singing for weddings, events, things like that. So that was kind of the first idea. Was I didn't want to work in an office job anymore. I was doing these other creative things that I wanted to do, but it was quite a scary jump because of money, really, whether to put my all into it. So I thought we decided, like, I've got experience in working in offices and with admin and stuff like that. I'm pretty savvy in that area, so I'll help him out maybe like a couple of mornings a week to get on top of his paperwork, and then focus on singing and yoga. And then as time goes on, I stopped doing all of them. I have actually just taken on a couple of gigs recently around the Christmas period, just because I feel like at the moment now I'm sort of ready to go back and do some of that stuff. But there was a period where I wasn't enjoying it because I was so busy with John's electrical. I was just tired, and I thought, if I'm not enjoying it, there's no point, is there? Let's get this business to where it needs to be first, and then I can take a step back and readdress the things that I like to do.
Yeah, and it's good to hear that you feel like you're at that position now. Like,
I really do. It's like
this is in a good place, and then you can go and do those creative outlets and do your singing again.
So I think what the main thing about being able to do that now is that when I was at that stage where I had to give everything up, I was doing so many different tasks and nothing was very tight and streamlined, which made it really difficult to be able to hand my tasks over to somebody else. I'm now at that stage where we've like all got our own individual roles in the office, and we don't step on each other's toes unless obviously somebody's on holiday and we need to cover them.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what my job is, and I know exactly what I need to do to hire somebody to take that role responsibility off me if I don't want to do it
Amazing.
anymore.
Yeah,
So
that's so good
yeah,
to hear, because that's so important, just to be able to be like, here's my job, like here's the job, you do it. And as you scale, you can just like palm these things off in like a package, like a role
yeah.
description, like an actual, yeah, a PD. But tell me, so like, was it a big decision to be like, I'm going to work with Jordan now?
It actually wasn't at all. I think a lot of people, my situation was slightly different to other people. Like, I didn't enjoy the job I was in. I didn't really
Mm,
know what I was doing. I did my degree in drama and creative writing, but I just don't feel at the age I graduated that I was kind of confident enough or like big enough of a personality to follow that path. You know, you've got to be a
right.
certain person to kind of get into acting. Maybe if I did it later on in life, it would be different. But then
Mhm.
I did a couple of things in relation to it, but nothing, that long term.
Yeah.
So I was sort of bouncing around trying to work out what I wanted to do. So it was an easy thing for me to give
Great.
up the job that I had, and also there was the idea of doing more yoga. Whereas I do think there are people in my situation that are thinking about giving up their jobs to work with their partner, but the difference is that they've got quite secure, good jobs that they enjoy and make good money
Yeah, right.
doing. And then I think when you're in that position, it is a much harder decision to make, because if it doesn't
Yeah.
work out, then you may have
Yeah.
lost something really good.
Yeah, right. But tell me about when you guys first started working together. Like, was it hard at first? You mentioned that Jordan would like really held your hand and in those first months, and like he was able to show you. But like, was it hard to sort of I know like Greg and I are trying to organize things together. Like at first it's like super pleasant, and then by the end of it it's just like, I know I'm doing it. So
Yeah. Do you know what? I didn't find the early days that difficult.
yeah,
It was
great.
quite chilled and relaxed. I think the thing I found, probably the thing that gave me the most anxiety, is that I wasn't doing enough, because like
Okay.
he was still kind of 50-50 on the tools in the office at that point. So I would be left to my own devices, and it was kind of like
Yeah.
finding things to do to say, like, make you feel like I deserve to be paid, and he was really nice about it. I was like, look, just do what you can. You're still getting paid. This is part of it. You'll find your feet and do more over time, which has happened.
Yeah.
He was right, but
And I
yeah,
bet you don't have that problem any longer. Trying to find things to do.
yeah, no way. I am, finding ways to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Um, but there actually, I do remember that there must have been some issues at the beginning though, because we laugh now. So we've got these two MacBooks, which even now like need to start being replaced. And Jordan had this old MacBook, and I had one as well, but now mine's like so ancient, I just don't even think it would turn on.
Yeah.
So his was like the elite one, so we used to share it. And I remember one time, like we had a 1 bedroom flat, so it was like the office, the desk was at the bottom of his bed. So you were like in this little desk at the bottom of the bed in a 1 bedroom flat. And then I remember arguing about something, and we were like pulling the laptop from one to another, like, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. I got stuff to do, no, I got stuff to do. And like I do like to think about that sometimes when I feel stressed, because I'm like, well, we've actually come so far from that. Like, we've got our own laptops, we've got our own phones, we've got a yard, we've got a house. So it is
That's
nice, like
amazing.
that's literally only 3 years ago, and now it's like
Wow.
where
Yeah.
we've come.
And because how many staff do you guys have now?
So let me just get
That's so funny.
yeah, I
My
know.
computer. No, I have stuff to do now. I have stuff to do.
Yeah, it's funny, and yeah, it's nice to think. So we've got me, Nathan, and Jordan in the office,
Yeah.
which is three, and then Nathan's wife, Saffron, she's going to come in and start doing some social media stuff for us. That's her forte, so that'll be good. So that'll be four. And then we've got Rob, Kai, Aaron, Matt, Reese, Matt, Jacob, Dale. Yeah, 12.
Awesome. In just 3
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
how many vans?
uh, vans. We've got 6 vans and another one on its way soon.
Amazing. You guys have
So,
done so well. That's huge.
well, it's been a kind of like that's been like the last year thing. So there was a time
Yeah.
last year we were going through all that stuff. I was saying to Jordan yesterday that when we hired this certain boy, it was just Aaron and Dale working for us. So there's
Mhm.
2 people only 2 years ago that were holding the fort, and then
Wow.
we just sorry,
All good.
we just like a lot of people in the academy were saying to Jordan, like, honestly, mate, you're like at a really awkward stage of numbers. Like, you just need to try and push past that awkward number, and things will come. So that's where our focus has been a lot this year is hiring. And what we've
Yeah.
done, instead of reactively hiring when we need somebody, we've just left the advert run. We've just been honest to people. So we just said, like, oh, look, we really like the look of you, but it's, it was looking like 4 months before you joined the team. Like, we understand if you want to go somewhere else, but if you feel you can stick it out where you are for that long, and then the
Yeah.
position's yours. And that has worked, and we've found, we have still had some questionable people that we've had to get rid of
Yeah.
along the way, but on the whole, like, we've had much better quality of staff and workforce.
Yeah, awesome. And it's really good, like you're just saying that honesty. Like people are really appreciative of just being like straight off the bat, this is where we're at. And we really like the look of you, like you said, but we're going to have to wait for some work. And I think people, once, they've applied for the ad, they've at least thought about leaving, like unless they're in a huge hurry, they'd be keen to
Yeah,
stick around for, yeah, an employer who's at least honest to them. But
because
how
that's
have
the
you found,
I think also, like, when you reactively hire, like, you attract people that don't have a job. I find most of the people that are good do have jobs. You just got to find them when they're sort of doubting whether they're happy or whether they like where they are.
yeah,
Um, Poaching people, really.
yeah, yeah, kind of. But and how have you found, like, so in the last year, if your like team has kind of tripled, how have you found managing staff?
I've actually found that quite difficult. I think that's probably my own insecurities, though. I feel like I've got a bit of like imposter syndrome. I think I'm just like, who am
Okay.
I to be like telling
Yeah,
all these
totally get
people
that.
what to do?
Yeah, totally get
um,
that.
but it's getting better. I just need to have a bit more confidence. I think
Uh-huh.
it like managing staff. You have to have quite a lot of uncomfortable conversations and be able to be quite stern with people sometimes and tell them where they're going wrong and what to do. And if that doesn't come naturally to you, like, I'm like, in my personal life, I'm quite a people pleaser, and I don't really like conflict, um and unless obviously there's a reason for it, but I try to avoid arguments and things. So it's kind of something I've had to learn, and yeah, build that role myself, really, as a manager. And I'm now classed as an office manager, even though I do accounts, and more like the HR department.
Yeah.
um like I said, we're trying to kind of give people proper roles and things they deal with. So now it's like
Mm.
Dawn's like, you are HR, so it's like all those difficult conversations are really for me to do first. Like, Jordan will only get involved if it needs to go that high up.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, it's still like a learning process, I think, but
Yeah.
it's getting better, and it is rewarding. People can get maybe offended or upset sometimes, but then you also have the other side where people are really appreciative of the things that you do for them in work. So
Yeah.
yeah, swings and roundabouts, really.
Yeah. And is there anything you've sort of like used to, like um I don't like, have you heard of Brene Brown?
No.
So she has this really great book. Um, oh, now I'm going to forget the name of it. She's got this book called Daring Greatly, and she's and oh, Dare to Lead. That's another really good one. So
Right,
I
okay.
found, yeah, that one really. I'll send it to you, the link to you. But she's a social worker, and she, like, I don't know, along those like lines of like yoga and just sort of like, sitting with the situation and all that sort of thing. She talks a lot about, like, her big thing is she is a shame researcher, so like shame and vulnerability. So even in that,
Right.
like, her approach to that, she's like, this is pretty big and nobody ever really wants to talk to me because I research shame and vulnerability. But she in her book Dare to Lead, she talks about being a leader and like ways of sort of like showing up for your team, and how to tackle really tricky conversations. And I don't know, like, whenever I'm sort of like having a moment of like, oh, someone's being kind of difficult, and I feel like, like I have to like rock up and sort of manage something, and really in the back of my mind I'm just thinking, oh my god, this person's super annoying. But like, you
Yeah.
have to like show up and be that professional person in your family business. I put her audio book on, and it just like prompts me to like just sit in that space, and it's like the whole thing of like fake it till you make it, right? And you,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just,
for sure. And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
being that
even though I
person.
did say like in a previous breath that I am like a people pleaser and stuff in my personal life, I could be maybe seen as a bit of a leader in that aspect as well, though, because I do feel like I'm the sort of person that's like always like making friends, and you're like, have you met this person, you met that person, I can be confident as well, and I will stand up for what's right. And I think sometimes it's bringing those aspects of your personality into the workplace and then using them well. I think when it's because it's work, you see it differently. It's hard. I can't explain, but I kind of it
Yeah, no,
makes me
totally.
think.
And like, especially like building rapport with, people. And if you're a very likable person, so then like, and pleasing those people when you meet them and being super friendly, like, I'm sure sort of softens the times where you do have to sort of pull them aside and be like, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Yeah, and I think it's like finding the right way to say where that things are wrong. It's
Yeah.
like nobody likes to be told that they're wrong.
Mm.
Um, and you don't want to sound patronizing. You don't want to be like, you don't
Yeah.
want to blow up too much, like you're losing control, or you don't want to be like so calm and patronizing that's going to rub people up the wrong way.
Yes.
It's like really hard to find that the right way to
Yeah.
have those bad negative
Deliver the
conversations.
message. Yeah.
And you've got to remember, like, I'm working in a trade business, like surrounded by men, surrounded by people that, like, most of them got into the trade because they didn't enjoy school and they
Yeah.
didn't like being in school. So maybe they didn't always have the best relationship with teachers and may have not stuck to the rules so much. Like, not always, I can't generalize everybody like that, but
Yeah.
there's probably going to be more
Yeah, sure.
difficult members of staff in a trade business than maybe if you were like in a solicitor's firm or
Yeah, because they like working with their hands, and like they become tradies, like, to work with tools for a reason, right?
yeah, and it's like lads, lads, lads. So it's like that. I found that aspect of working in the business challenging.
Yeah.
Not all of them. Some people are respectful of me, but some people just don't like the fact that I'm a woman and don't like to hear
Being
what I've got
told
to
what to
say.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, don't like they just can't. I've had people leave because they just can't handle me telling them what to do. It just pisses them off
Yeah,
so much.
right. And
I just
like, how do you take that? Because I know for me personally, like, especially when we're like when response was a lot smaller, it felt like whenever we took someone on, I really like embraced them as part of the family. And then so when they would leave, like, I would feel a little bit heartbroken that they've left. Like, I would take it super personally.
yeah, no, I'd actually say in that aspect I'm a lot harder than Jordan.
Yeah, good.
Um, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some people that still work for us now where that I would be really upset if they left, especially if it was
Yeah.
on bad terms, because I do see them as close friends as well
Mm,
as employees or colleagues.
yes.
But I suppose it's getting less with the new people because we're growing, we're hiring
Yeah.
at a more rapid rate. People are coming, people are going, and I used to take everything quite personally and stressful, and everything was just so stressful. And
Yeah.
I just thought to myself, like, I've got to let things go, because if I'm just like getting affected by the way customers are speaking to me, the way staff are speaking to me, the fact that people aren't paying, like
Yeah.
I'm just not going to have a life. Sometimes
Yeah,
you're just going to think,
absolutely.
like, just like I've done what I can do, just got to roll with it.
Yeah, it took me a long time to separate that, like work and home life. And I don't
Yeah.
know about you guys, but do you find it hard to not talk about work?
Yeah, but I'm quite strict on it. Jordan can just go forever. talk about
Yeah.
work forever. Like you can work all hours of the day. I think he's like Greg in that sense. But like I do
Yes.
need a break, and I don't
Yeah.
see that as being lazy or don't have a good work ethic. I just need that time to
Yeah, for sure.
not be talking about work. So like I will
Switch
sometimes
off for a
say
bit.
like, oh babe, can we just not talk about work? Like I just
Yeah.
don't want to. And somebody will be like, oh, I just want to tell you this one thing, like it's
Yeah.
fine. And like, okay, but sometimes I'll be like, no, like I just don't like what is it? And then if he says I'm like, no, I just don't want to talk about that now. Like I need
Yes.
like we went to the pub for a roast on Sunday and we were walking back, and he said, oh, I can't remember, he said, oh, show me something, and I was like, oh, do you mind if like you don't? Because it's Sunday and like I just want to relax, ready for
Yeah.
work again on Monday. And then yeah,
Yeah.
I put those boundaries in place really, because otherwise I just felt eventually it might, hopefully touch wood it wouldn't, but like ended our relationship, you know, if it
Yeah.
got to the point where we just had nothing else in common other than work, then
Yeah, absolutely.
that
Because
would
I mean, like when you're living in it and working in it, like it's not like, oh, 5 o'clock and I go home now. It's sort of like 5 o'clock and the problems still continue and I'm still trying to think about how I'm going to fix them tomorrow. But like there needs to be more to
yeah,
life than just the business, right?
yeah, for sure. And I think as long as you like catch up when you have time off and try and keep on top of things, there aren't ever really that many problems. Like as long as you're communicating with people that have issues and getting back to them and trying to see that they see that you're trying to resolve it, like things are just a lot more streamlined. I found like when I've had like longer periods of time off work and I haven't replied to emails properly and stuff, and that winds people up. That tends to be when most of the stresses arise. But I think
Yeah.
now we've got, like I was saying, like the roles. Everyone knows who's replying to who, like what task is your responsibility.
Like that chain of
Everything.
command.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like it's just things are just like moving like a well-oiled machine at the moment, which is good.
Yeah. A good system, it sounds.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so tell me what sort of like when you rock up to work, what is your normal routine? Like what is your normal day like? So do you usually wake up this early?
Yes, I do. I'm normally in the office by 7:30. Obviously, I'm here now to do this.
Yeah.
Um, 7:30 to 8 o'clock. The office is open from 8 till 5, but it depends on what Jordan's doing. Um, I'm not as good in the mornings as him, so if I can get him to 8, I like it. But if like him or Nathan aren't there, for example, then I will try and get in early for the boys, because I don't think it looks good, even though they've got keys and stuff to the yard. It kind of looks a
Yeah,
bit
right.
shit if the boss is in bed and
Yeah.
they're there, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but I have like just get up my schedule. So I get into the office, and then if I go back, I've got like my calendar set up basically, um, which kind of gives me a rough outline of what I should do each day.
Yeah.
So obviously this does change from time to time, but it kind of goes like this. So I'll come into the office, and then I'll start with my emails. I will like answer the ones I can answer, but if they require a bit more attention, then I'll send them over to my Asana task list.
Yeah.
And then then in the morning I kind of do Asana inbox, Asana tasks, and then I have my lunch. And then this is one thing which has actually really helped, is Jordan's given me an hour a day to address any issues that I have that I need him for, because
Yeah,
that
right.
actually,
Nice.
like that is getting better now. We've got Nathan in the office, who's an electrician, because I've got more than one person I can ask. But I
Yeah.
did find it so stressful before when people were screaming at me for things and I didn't know the
Yeah.
answer because I'm not an
An
electrician.
electrician.
But Jordan's
Yeah.
just like, I just don't have time, babe. I just don't have the time right now. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to wait. And I'm just like, yeah, but they're screaming at me. Like,
Yeah.
I need your
And you
help.
can't do your job until you've got the answer to move forward.
Yeah. So now at least
Yeah.
I know I can be like, oh, okay. So Jordan, I sit down with Jordan between this time and this time. So I think it's like 1 to 2. Obviously, it can change slightly depending on what we're doing. But then I know I can say like, right, I'll get back to you this afternoon with an answer, and
Yeah.
then people know where we are, and it works a lot better. And then I just tend to go move on to my accounts then in the afternoon. So like reconciling payments, chasing payments, and then just touching back on my Asana and email at the end of the day. So I kind of just try to follow that process. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
not always the same. My phone rings like a million times a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Within that,
Sidetracked with 4 other things
calls
while
or
you're trying
like
to.
probably the
Yeah.
post office and stuff. But I think just having that kind of those blocks in the day, I sort of know
Mhm.
roughly where I'm supposed to be, and it keeps me on track.
Yeah, awesome. Are you guys currently working on anything? Like, is there any focus on growth or getting things organized?
So at the moment, it's solar is a big thing.
Yeah.
So solar has become huge. I don't know if it's the same over in Australia, but here
Yeah, there's a lot of
it's
sun here, so it's pretty,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think there's a couple of things like energy prices are really high.
Hmm.
People are like wanting to go greener, better for the planet, and it's yeah something people are investing in, and the government are just moving everything to electric now rather than gas.
Yeah.
So we have a contract at the moment, which is a lot of like council, social housing, and they're installing solar panels, and it'll be electric boilers and everything soon. And we've teamed up with another company who do private solar. So we've got that knowledge from doing the
Great.
council stuff, and now it's private solar.
Yeah.
So we may even be in a position at the moment. Solar is part of Jordan's Electrical, but we maybe might even eventually have to have like Jordan Solar, like a solar division because it is
Yeah. Yeah. That's exciting.
it is going well. So that is really the most exciting thing I think at the moment for us
Yeah.
is the solar.
Yeah.
But even just
Awesome.
like what we stick to, like the reactive service work, we that's amazing now because we've got really high up on Google. We've got people doing our SEO work now. We've got something over in the UK. I don't think you've got it in Australia yet, but it's called local service ads, which is really good. So you pop up at the top of Google,
Yeah. I think
and
we've
you're
got it.
guaranteed. Yeah, so you didn't have it at one point because I remember speaking. I did a couple of calls with people.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. I don't
and
know.
it
Maybe it's called something else. Um, I don't know. I feel like in a meeting,
I've
someone.
already done a couple of places around the world, but I think it was about a year ago that
Okay. Sorry.
we
What's it
didn't have
called
it.
again?
So it's called Google Guaranteed. So
Okay.
I
Oh,
don't
Google
know.
Guaranteed. Yeah, no, I haven't got that, but I feel like you said something before. Local search something.
Local service ads. So it's the same thing. So can I can I share my screen with you on here?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think so. I say absolutely. Yeah,
Quickly.
no, I think you can. Down the bottom, or maybe it won't let
Share.
you because
So can you see my screen at all?
yes,
Okay, so if you type in electricians near me, this is like the standard Google, people on Google, right? But
uh-huh.
there's a thing called local service ads, which is Google guaranteed, and it's here. So you see sponsored. We're right at the
Right.
top.
Okay. Yeah, no,
So
I don't think I've seen that before.
yeah, so it's a thing in the
Oh,
UK
look at
and a couple
you
of other
guys at the
countries.
top.
Exactly, and then you can have your
5 stars, 109 reviews. Well done. Well done.
But yeah, that
That's
will happen
awesome.
when you
That's
do it in like Philly and Cardiff in the town centre because you put your let me stop sharing. You put your radius in of how far you want to travel.
yeah,
And yes, we're always at the top of that. So it's at the moment now we are investing in SEO work. So
yeah,
we'll work on getting further up on Google that way. But that
yeah.
was a really, really good cost effective way of being at the top. without having to
Amazing.
spend thousands of pounds on Google
Yes.
advertising.
Yeah. Oh,
But at the beginning,
congratulations.
yeah.
That's awesome. Wicked.
Thanks.
And any special events coming? I sometimes see your photos pop up on my Facebook, and I just stop for a minute and like everything, all of your photos look so glamorous. I'm like, like there was
Oh,
one.
thank you.
I think it was about I don't know if it was a year ago. I probably sound like a stalker, but it was like you guys were in like a meadow or something. And like, I think you said you'd gone for like a weekend away and you were in this like meadow and you had this like beautiful cotton dress and there was just flowers everywhere. I was just like, oh, next time take me.
Yeah, I don't know where that was then. Cotton dress. I'll have to come back to you on that one. But oh, thank you. You're always so cute about my pictures on Facebook. But yeah, we've
I'm
had
like just dreaming of my like pre-kid life when like we used to do like nice things, whereas now we do super fun things.
oh yeah, but it's still nice, isn't it?
It
And
is. It's so
we'll be in
nice.
that situation soon, hopefully.
Yes.
We are potentially thinking of a trip to Australia. Don't hold me to it, but around Christmas time,
Amazing.
it is on the cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll let you
Because
know. But
children have
kind of
been
the
here
reason
before.
I said that is because we're kind of thinking maybe children sort of within the next year ish kind of
Yeah.
time scale. So
Yeah.
I think we want to get like a nice big holiday like that out of the way, just us two. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you can still do those things with kids. Like I've got a friend who has been to Australia loads of times with her children. She's got a friend over there, and she went with a baby
Yeah.
on her lap one time.
Yeah.
So you can still do lovely things, but I think we want to come out and party with you guys a little bit first, maybe.
Yes, please. I don't, yeah, no, that's perfect because I feel like our kids are at the age where we can like happily leave them with a sitter or their grandparents, like no sweat. So yeah, come for a party. Let's go.
Nice. The only issue
Awesome.
I've got at the moment is that I've agreed to do a singing gig on New Year's Eve, which I
Right.
can't really get out of. I mean, I could, but it looks bad
Yeah.
if I cancel it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we need to discuss that. But I did say to Joel, like, maybe we could still go. We could just go for like 2 weeks from like the 15th and come back on like the 28th or something. Like,
Yeah.
it would be good to do New Year's Eve in Australia, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny around that time of year, like trying to get like the Christmas right, trying to get New Year's right. Like it all seems a little bit like funny.
Yeah.
We've got Greg actually won tickets for himself for one tickets, one a ticket to Vegas in January, which was like
No
with
way.
Clipsal Electrical. So they're a massive electrical wholesaler here in Australia. And
Okay.
yeah, they're going to like a whole bunch of them are going to Vegas, and he's got like the Super Bowl. I don't know that much about
Yeah, yeah.
football, but he's got locker room like experience. So like before the game, they go into the like locker room with the guys and like get all amped up. I was like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, crazy. I'm trying not to be too jealous, but it all depends who the like halftime show is, because you know how the halftime show is like usually someone incredible. So like
Yeah.
if it's someone I don't really mind not
Yeah,
seeing, I'll
it's
be like,
normally
let's
like massive artists like Beyonce and like,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And tickets are like
So
about
just for
five.
you, just for Greg, not for you.
Yes, I know, but tickets are like
Wow.
5 grand, so it's not like I'm just going to buy my ticket to come just to see the concert. But
I,
the family,
your car as well. That's one thing. Your Land Rover. I want the exact same car. How is
yeah,
it?
the Defender.
Yeah,
Yes, I must say I do love.
I
I'm
really
not
want it so
I'm
bad.
I'm
And
not a
one of the
car
things,
person, but I do
no,
really love my Defender, and it's green, and I don't know, I think because it's like quite new, it's got like rounded edges, and it feels quite luxurious, but because it's green, it makes me feel like, yeah, I'm like going to go bush bashing. Like I don't go four-wheel driving or anything, but in saying that, like where we live, the roads are pretty gnarly, because
yeah,
we are kind of regional. So it definitely makes a difference because there are some like massive windy roads around here. But no, I do love my car.
yeah. I love it. I do. I think I like the green. It'd be green or black for me.
Yeah,
But also another good thing is that with the car like that, you can put it through as a commercial vehicle. It is classed if it tows a certain amount. We could use it for work as well,
yeah,
which
for sure.
may make things bit better for us in terms of the finance and stuff. I need to look at the options, but
Yeah,
yeah,
there's so many sort of like things you can
oh,
kind
that's
of.
my like next car. I'm like
Yay!
dream board.
Oh, awesome.
I want it.
It's got this little I'll send you a video, but it is really cool. When you in the dark, when you open like unlock it, underneath the, so you know how you got like the side like mirrors along the side of the
Yeah,
car, um, underneath is a light, and it like shines this light onto the ground, and it's got, the light is like a little picture of a Defender, and it's it has the little car and like the Defender written on it. So in
no
the
way,
like it's got
that's
big
so
touch,
cool.
and it's like lit on the ground. It's like Defender. I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. But we are
Yeah.
going. We've just like we're taking the kids to Disney World, which was like, I don't know. I don't know if like Greg and I are more excited or the kids are excited. So
But
when
in America,
yeah, so when Greg
right.
goes to Vegas, we're going to go like a few weeks before, so he'll go and we'll go. So that's our next trip. Well, no, actually, in saying that, we have a trip before that, um, and we're actually, now that we're like booking all these things, it's sort of like, oh, we really do need to set some time for work. But it's so funny because like so many of our holidays always involve just a little bit of work. And it's sort of like, even if
Yeah,
that's, just like a few emails or keeping on top of things. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's that thing where like, it is really hard to disconnect. But
yeah,
sometimes, I don't know, for me, I've kind of found like it's a little bit of peace of mind as well. Like, it's not like I'm working all day and, like we're away and, like I'm working all day or like, answering emails and stuff. But it's sort of like,
yeah.
just sort of like behind, in the bathroom, just quickly check something, and then it's like, okay, yeah, it's good, fine, I can relax.
Yeah, no, it is. That is one thing. You do have to do work when you're away sometimes. Sometimes
Yeah,
more than others. Like we went to on holiday this year, and Jordan, fair play to him, did work pretty much the whole time, like every single day, and just enjoy the
yeah,
evenings. And I thought Wi-Fi was like a thing that everywhere had these days, but we turned up and there was no Wi-Fi there, which was a bit of a nightmare. I just didn't even
yeah,
think to check because I just assumed, like, as part of like
yeah.
an Airbnb, it would be there. But yeah, always check if you got Wi-Fi if you're working away. Bit of a disaster, but yeah, we are really still at that stage. Like it's not as bad as maybe it once was, but we are still at that stage where we are dependent on a lot, and being a couple, both being away at the same time,
Yes,
can be a little bit disastrous. So that is, yeah, probably my next aim is really
yeah,
get to that freedom place now where
yeah,
we have got people that can do what we do and they're
yeah,
trusted and we can literally just turn the phone off and not even have to
yes,
be
yeah. Well, then,
contacted. I mean,
like anything, it just takes planning, right? Like if you're like, okay, this is, like you said that deadline, like this is our deadline. We need to be organized and like passing off all our tasks until a certain time, because
yeah,
that's when we
exactly.
leave. Yeah, and it's like as long as you're organized to get there, then you can make it happen.
Yeah,
And
for
then
sure. And
worst
like
case
these
scenario, you come back and you deal with the disasters when you get home.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like having the luxury of like having a successful business and then being able to go on holiday without any interruptions, like that is a nice place to be in life, and stuff like that doesn't come easy, does
Yeah,
it? So you have to go through
yeah,
the shit times and the
yeah.
stresses before you get
Yeah.
there.
And
But I think
and even in that, like, I mean, it definitely gets easier, but like when shit does hit the fan, like you are the one who's going to have to pick it up. So
yeah,
like it's, the pros and cons, like there is always pros and cons, and it definitely gets easier. But at the end of the day, like the business is your baby. So like
yeah,
you're going to be aware of it, and you're going to leave it in the best possible hands. But
exactly.
when you have passed that on to the best person, it's like, I trust this person completely. Like that's our Kirk. Like he has been
Yeah,
with us for so long, and then there's even things that he's like, like, no, that's to hand off to someone else or whatever. But to be able to step away, you've got to, like your kids, you got to
yeah.
know that they're going to be looked after, or whatever.
Yeah, I think with that is more just like as long as you catch up fully before you leave, then there's only so much like hopefully the
Yeah.
person will do what they're supposed to do. But even if they don't, like there's only so much damage you can do in 2 weeks. I say that
Yeah.
hopefully. You
Will
know,
you be
like,
surprised? No.
yeah. But yeah, it's good. Things are
Yeah.
looking good.
Awesome. No, it sounds like you guys, you will, I mean, you have done so well in even
Oh,
a short
thank
year of
you.
time and to like, yeah, triple your business. Everything sounds like it's really going in the right direction. But
Yeah,
before
I think
I
you
let
need
you
to do that. You
tell me,
sometimes step, see, yeah, see how far you've come.
yeah,
Um, Something to do. And one other thing I was going to say in that conversation is like you do become a lot harder over time. Like things that would stress the hell out of me now, I'm just like I
yeah,
just haven't done even give a shit. It's like not that I don't
yes,
care. It's just like if I cared about everything, I would just have a breakdown. So you do, yeah, you become thicker skinned over time, and it's easier to deal with
yeah. And
difficult situations.
it's always like, there's always something. There's always something. There's always someone.
Yeah,
It's
there's
always,
always going to be something
whatever.
as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like in my when I was nursing, I felt like quite task orientated. Like you'd have a set amount of hours and you'd do, A, B, C, D, you tick them all off, and then at the end of your shift, you'd like hand them over and these are your jobs to do. Bye, and like finish. But like
yeah,
working within the family business, it's sort of like there's always something. I've just got to learn to just be okay with the always something, and like you said, just yeah, be okay with
yeah,
it. It's always something. But
yeah, for
before
sure.
I let you save your voice, because
Yeah,
and you get on with your big day, what's
thank you.
one tip, one thing that, and I know it's so hard because you sort of like sum up all the things, but working and living within your trade family business, what would the biggest tip you would give to yourself if you were just starting out?
I would say just always make sure that you're communicating with each other and listening to each other and what the other person needs and the boundaries that they put in place. I think
Yeah,
that needs to be set early on because it's easy to just be so positive and say yes to everything at the beginning, but I promise you, like that won't last forever. Then you'll be like, actually, no, this pisses me off. I don't want to do that. I'm working too hard. Like, I think boundaries and honesty and communication is what you need to make it work.
that is amazing. And just so you know, I'm going to capture exactly what you just said and put it on all the socials. So incredible.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
Thank you so much, Sophie, and thank you for waking up that little bit early and
Oh no,
fresh as a
it's been
daisy.
great to catch up with you. And yeah, if we do decide to come over, I will let you know for sure because it would be really nice to meet you
Yes,
in person.
absolutely. We would
rather
love
than
to
having
have
a
you.
rather than having a pen pal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. All right. Have an awesome day and thank you again so much.